you need your own like style or sense of what's good or bad, you know. Of course, other people can influence that, and you can like take other people's opinions into account. But I also think strong movies come from a director with a strong vision and an opinion, and you know. Welcome to the Burning Boat Show. This week we got some questions from our Instagram followers. I think about 6 or 7, and we spend the whole episode answering them. It was actually a really good episode. We'll also take this time to thank our patrons on Patreon. Thank you for sponsoring us. You can find the link below if you want to help sponsor us as well. I don't fucking know. And enjoy the episode.
All right. We've got an exciting podcast today. We're doing a Q&A.
Woo!
We asked some people who follow us on Instagram to write in some questions.
Yeah.
Kind of anything. Business, personal.
Could be anything. And thank you for writing in.
Yeah, thank you so much.
First of all, I think we should do this again at some point. Yeah. I also think when we read out the questions, Robin, can you mention their names?
I was going to do that.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
More questions than I was expecting.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Good questions.
That would have been
as well.
really awkward if we didn't get any questions.
We were kind of afraid that would happen, but
and then we were just going to make up questions.
Nope.
Oh, John.
These are real questions
John
from real
Smith
people
asked,
and they are good questions.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Action.
And
Bing.
did I ever tell you Dario, the other intern? He would go, and 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Great. I like it.
It's fun. I think everybody does it a little different. How do you go action?
And action.
Yeah, it is the same.
Yeah.
And action. I always put the and in.
It's to
Everybody calm
prepare
down.
people for it.
Yeah.
If you just go action.
Yeah.
And oh.
Yeah. I remember one of the actors on my last film was a little bit hard of hearing. And I'd be like, and action. He wouldn't do anything. He'd be like, action. And he'd be like, Taylor, can you say it a little bit louder next time? I'm like, dude, I'm fucking screaming it.
Yeah, we have a funny compilation of you just doing that.
Yeah.
Action! Action! Force!
All
right, Robin, you want to read these out?
Kick us off.
Yeah. Let us begin. Question number 1 from Shanks_K1.
Thank you, Shanks.
Let's do it.
What motivates you and inspires you the most?
Ooh.
Ah, damn, you're going out of order here.
Yeah.
I was all prepared to go. That was like the super serious one for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wrote the fact that I'm going to die. I thought we were going to start on a much lighter note here, but that I was going to say, for me, motivation, that just made me think of like internal motivation, like things that I think about that get me motivated, whereas something that inspires me is more of like an external thing. And the first thing that jumped to mind was I feel like I think more often than probably is normal about the fact that I'm going to die, and that is something that forces me in the moment to really think about, well, what do I want to do now? Maybe more specifically, what will I regret more when I'm about to die? Not having done something or having tried it, and maybe I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's something that often is something that gets me to take action. There's something that's like going on that I'm thinking maybe I want to do. If I think about it long enough, often I'll be like, imagine yourself when you're like about to die.
Yeah.
Will I regret having done this thing or regret not having tried it? And it's always not having tried it.
Yeah.
Which is it's so easy then to go like, well, I really have no reason not to try this thing. I'm talking about like big life
Yeah.
changes. I'm not talking about like
So
am I
it's
gonna
you're
have coffee or
specifically
tea?
focused on like the last dying day,
Yeah,
what you would be
yeah.
thinking.
Like I imagine
Because if
myself.
you go one step further, right,
Yeah, yeah.
then nothing matters.
Right. Yeah.
That's where sometimes I think about that. I go, yeah, it doesn't matter.
One step further, right? But that's like, I can't imagine not thinking, right?
Mostly when you sleep.
But I'm not really present there.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can think about is myself when I'm moments away from not being able to think again. And there's nothing left to live. There's nothing left to experience. This is it. Everything that will have happened in my life is now in the past.
Yeah.
What things do I wish I did?
Yeah.
It's very rarely what things do I wish I didn't do.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are a few things, but
It is more when you're. That's the thing. I don't really think about my deathbed, but I would think about when I'm like 60. Not that you can't like do things,
Yeah.
but sort of reflecting like I'm towards the end of my life here. You know, the last third of my life or whatever. What have I spent the other 2/3 doing?
Yeah, maybe it's
The
not
last day, like I would honestly be like, who fucking cares?
I don't think I think about myself on the deathbed. I'm going to just clarify. I imagine myself in a rocking chair for some reason.
Okay.
I have this like image
Like
of
in flight.
Like in flight?
Aren't they on a rocking chair at some point? The father and is that flight? Yeah, that's flight. Is it flight?
I don't know. I don't
No.
think there's a rocking chair in flight. The end scene?
What movie am I thinking of? No. Is there like a female character in flight?
Yeah.
And her dad like lives in a.
No.
Oh.
You don't know her dad.
Or where does he stay when he has a bunch of? No, never mind.
Anyways,
Continue, sorry, I cut you off.
I have like a strong image in my head of an old man sitting in a rocking chair. I specifically picture him from behind him, so I can like see his silhouette more than I can see his face, and I imagine what that old man is thinking. Is he thinking, "Oh, I regret not having done that," or is he thinking, "Oh, I really gave everything
Yeah.
a really good shot"?
Yeah.
And is he content?
Yeah.
I don't think the goal is to live a regret-free life, but I think there are certain things that you really don't want to end up regretting. Things like not having done something that you really actually wanted to do. A lot of things were telling you to try that thing or to do that thing or to change something massive, and it's easy to talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
But that's a huge motivating factor for me.
Yeah, I would agree. If you said like as a kid you wanted to do something and you never even you worked somewhere else, but I could imagine at the end of your life you're thinking, why didn't I just try for a couple of years to.
What about you?
I would say something similar. Mine was a little bit more specific. It's like the things that motivate me the most, I think, are right now probably as simple as it sounds, is watching like a really well-crafted movie or like a good piece of art. There's something that, I don't know, I watch that and I just get so amped to want to, I don't know, not do the same obviously, but just
Gives you an energy to want to do something about certain things that you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like write the next script, get the next film going, do the next thing, I think there's just something, especially when it's a film where it's like there's something new to it. There's something like, oh, there's always, we're never going to run out of ideas. We're never going to run out of unique ways to tell a story. I think that really gets me going. But I would also agree with you that the feeling of regret or the feeling of that can definitely get me to do something as well.
So I wrote for the part that inspires me, because I felt like it was two parts to the same question, the internal and the external. So the external would 100% be watching films.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote.
Watching films or just like a good song.
Yeah.
Or a good, hasn't happened a lot, but like a painting that you're just like, wow. Mm-hmm. I don't know, something that makes you go home and it's like, I'm going to start working on this project.
Creativity is very inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Other people's creative work is very inspiring to me.
Yeah. Especially like, it's almost the more we work in film, the more inspired I get, because the more I understand how hard it is to pull something off.
Right.
You know, that good. And you're just like, it's like a piece of magic almost.
It makes you realize what's possible. Because you'd never thought of that before.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's there and it exists and it's real. So like, what else have we collectively never thought about that might be something that you are going to end up making?
Yeah.
Which is very exciting.
Very exciting. All right.
Great first question.
Next one. Another one.
The next question is from Matt Scaff. And
G'day, Matt.
The question is, if you guys got asked to make a feature film, what would it be about?
Well, I think we should just keep, or do you not want to keep going first?
I can go first.
Go for it.
I can go first. Well, I've already written a feature film script, and I'm halfway through writing another feature film script, separate from the documentary, which is there's also a feature film, but I guess it's feature film has the connotation of being fiction at least in my head.
Yeah.
So I can talk about what that is. I'll talk about the second film, which is the one that's more relevant, I'd say. It's a film called Avalanche. It is a film about a climber, specifically a mountaineer, a big mountain climber. Big, he's not physically big, but he is big into big mountain climbing. Dangerous,
he is
huge mountains.
Right.
High altitude, the most dangerous kind of climbing that there exists. And it is a film about how he starts to be conflicted about his big passion in life when he starts to fall in love with a girl and eventually builds a family with her. Yeah. And that he starts to be conflicted about, can I keep putting my life at risk when I have a family at home who I want to be there for? So it's an action adventure in the sense of there's a lot of climbing in the film, but it's really at the core it's a drama.
Love story.
It's a romantic drama. Yeah, for sure. It's a love story.
Mine, I have not written half the script. Mine is just like the remnants of the beginnings of an idea for a film that would focus, I think, mainly on identity and questions like, if you strip someone away of certain like I guess an example would be like somebody who has Alzheimer's. What is their identity? You know, having lost memory, having not recognizing people that are part of your life. Sort of, where does identity lie? And I think specifically also trauma, and how those two would interact. One question I would have is like, if somebody had committed a horrible crime, right, and had spent their life in prison and was now getting out of prison, but wanted to kill themselves because they didn't feel that they should be forgiven, or that they have paid their time to society, right? And due to some event, they experienced some brain trauma, and suddenly can't remember the thing that they did all those years ago. And are no longer suicidal, right? Would it be your responsibility to tell them what they had done, right? Sort of, do you forgive a person? Is somebody allowed to work past that, or are some things sort of unforgivable and people should? And what does that mean for him not to deal with sort of forgiving himself and blah 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 blah.
Very interesting.
That's the idea. We'll have to bleep that out.
How was
it
that?
Might be too.
How was that? Is that like the first time you've like had to say it?
Yeah. It's very scary. I might ask you to bleep that out later.
No, it's just it's just the beginnings of an idea.
Yeah,
it can change.
Yeah,
it's. I think it was good, from what I know.
Yeah,
pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's scary to say that shit.
You
want to like
It's
copyright
worth it though. It's no. It's like no one's. You don't have to copyright. I'm just gonna close this window.
Yeah.
For sound. Sorry, Robin. But obviously, feature film wise, in my head, I'm working on
The documentary.
the documentary, which is very much a feature film. There's a lot of things in it that are very non-traditional for a documentary piece. So that.
Yeah.
All right.
Next question.
Next
Send message.
question is from Katia Radu. Don't know if I'm pronouncing
Hey,
that right.
Catio.
Her question is, what was it like working with Yes Theory? And also, how's the baby doing? Very
Whose
related
baby?
questions.
Mine?
Your baby, both your babies.
Okay.
Oscar's doing very well. He is learning how to walk. He's now walking around, which is pretty intense because that means all of a sudden he can get places very quickly. He can also... He like freaking climbs everything now. He climbs up onto tables. He started climbing up onto window sills, which is pretty terrifying. We live on the 5th floor.
Yeah.
So he's a little climber running around, which is a totally new experience, going from like basically he used to lie on just his back to, all right, he's moving around a little bit, to crawling, to now he's like crawling off the ground.
Bipedal.
But yeah, he's great. I think one thing that I wanted to talk about was that one thing that I struggle with is being at home enough while running a business on this, like at the same time. And I think I've gotten into a pretty good rhythm. We had, speaking of working with Yes Theory, we've been working with Yes Theory on another project that you guys don't know about yet. We've mentioned it a few times. But during that time, there was a very intense, month and a bit where we were working pretty much nonstop, late into the evenings, on the weekends as well. Very rarely did we take a day off because there's such an intense deadline. And that it's been really nice recently being able to have a good schedule where I'm able to leave at a reasonable-ish time so that I can get home and be with him before he goes to bed. So I spend time with him in the mornings before I go to work, and then when I get home from work as well, and then obviously over the weekends as well, which is hugely important for me. So yeah, it's going really well. How was it working with Yes Theory?
You're not going to ask about my baby?
Oh, sure.
She's doing all right. I've been watering her, and I did forget to water her for about a week, but she looks happy.
Nice.
Yes Theory. Yes Theory, how was it working with Yes Theory? I mean, it was probably one of the greatest assignments we've ever gotten, to be honest.
Yeah, the only thing I wrote down was amazing creative freedom.
Yeah, because they literally just said... They kind of asked us, like, do you want us to give you guys some input, or like some, I don't know if I would call it like limitations, but this is the kind of thing we want? Mm-hmm. Or do you guys just want to, and before they finish that sentence, we're like, we'll take a second. Just let us do something. Yeah.
Which has never happened before. Complete creative freedom.
Yeah, especially because it's, what's nice is it was a commercial for Seek Discomfort, which is is it only that's their clothing line, right? Mm-hmm. And with fashion, I often find that there's very few kind of limitations. You're not trying to necessarily sell a bottle of shampoo, so you have to show people like in the shower using the shampoo and blah, blah, blah. It's like
it's like a lifestyle.
Yeah, and because of COVID, they were like, we can't send you guys any clothes.
Yeah.
So already there was this restriction of, we don't even have to show off the clothes.
Yeah.
So we're in this total space of like, it can literally be whatever we want to make. And the added, I wouldn't say it's a benefit, although sometimes I think it was the short time frame. and then you don't have a lot of time to
11 days.
Yeah,
from
you can't be like,
being
okay,
given
let's
the
spend
assignment to deadline.
a week brainstorming.
Yeah.
It's a very fun sort of stream of consciousness project where it's just whatever you think of kind of is gonna happen. You know, you discuss it quickly. Hey, is that what do you think? Great, good idea. And then it's like, all right, let's do it now. Let's order the things. Let's start filming that. It was like
you really have to
0
trust
to 100
yourself as well.
Yeah,
you have to trust that you have the skeleton of an idea and that you're going to be able to fill the things in as you go.
Yeah.
You can't have the full picture in your head to begin with, which is
very
scary but also very it leads to some interesting creative choices.
Yeah, and there was also added stress because we've never had anything watched by, I mean, I think that video now has over 1 million views.
Yeah.
And we kind of knew
that it was going to have that many views.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, for me, I think the thing that I wrote down was that there's a lot of pressure to really make the most of the shot that we were being given.
Yeah.
Being given the opportunity to really, you know, all right, a lot of people are going to see this.
Yeah.
This is your shot. Here.
Yeah.
Take the opportunity or not. And we really wanted to really make the most of that opportunity and make something that was memorable.
Yeah, I think we were very aware of, we wanted to make something that people either really liked or didn't like. And that's a hard thing. It just means that you're kind of pushing it to a point where, you know, as soon as I saw some negative comments, it was like, yeah, good.
Yeah, you need to.
It's much better than everybody going, yeah, it was pretty good. It was a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want to make anything standard.
No, not at all.
Because a lot of people can do something standard.
Yeah. Yeah. With the shot, I think you're absolutely right. You know, in life, I think you get a lot of these kind of random opportunities, and you kind of want to be fucking ready when one.
You position
comes.
yourself to be ready for when an opportunity lands to be able to take a good swing at it.
Yeah.
And so it was very much like, I don't think that often those opportunities are so obvious.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's in hindsight you realize that, oh wow, that was really a huge opportunity. I'm glad we made the most of it.
Yeah.
This felt like literally like
this is definitely.
All right, here's the stage. You're going to go on in 11 days to present the thing.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to see it. And this could either be a huge thing for you or it could be like a blip.
Massive flop.
Yeah, it could be you get a little bit of attention for a day.
Yeah.
And I think very rarely in life do you get these very obviously big opportunities. Yeah. And so there was that. It was definitely a lot of pressure.
Pressure, and then also a lot of trust. I mean, we were shooting the behind the scenes every day.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how they were gonna.
Oh my God, that's a whole
portray
other
us,
aspect of it.
you know?
I forget about that.
Yeah.
Because we did the commercial, which was obviously a huge task, but we also filmed everything that went in the episode.
Yeah.
So we were we would, because of the.
I mean, we'd have these epic long days.
Yeah.
And at night, get all the footage, send it to their editor.
Yeah.
And he has like quite, trying to explain like, oh, here's this little thing and blah, blah, blah. And then, just that feeling of like,
are they gonna?
Because we've never
how are
worked.
They gonna make us look?
We've never worked with anybody. Sort of. How do you say? I don't want to say like at our level, but somebody who's like good at what they do. I think the expectation was like, are they gonna be able to like make this interesting? Is this just gonna be super boring of us filming this project? I mean, we're just in an apartment. It's not even like all the shit is going on with actors and everything. It's the two of us.
Yeah, it's very
just trying to figure it out.
Difficult to make what we were filming interesting.
Yeah,
and I think we were aware of that, and we were nervous that we were maybe going to come across as like, I don't know what I was nervous. I just didn't know what it was going to be. Yeah,
you don't know.
So when we saw the video, I wish I had filmed myself, because we watched it separately when it came out. I watched it with my girlfriend.
Yeah,
and I just had like the biggest smile on my face the whole time, because it genuinely
they did such a good job.
Exciting. Not seemed. I mean, it was exciting to make it, but it came across through the editing. Yeah. So it was so much fun to see someone else edit like us.
Yeah, because usually we're in control. We can go.
Never happened before.
Yeah, exactly.
It was amazing.
Yeah. kind of a precursor to what Robin's doing now. You know, relinquishing some of that control, which I think is a healthy kind of, it's a healthy thing to do, because it makes you just care a little bit less about maybe how you come across and stuff. Because if you're editing yourself, it's just like it's a lot of control to have. You can, in an edit, I can make you look good or I can make you look bad.
Yes.
You know, so giving that control to somebody else is a little bit freeing. So that was yes theory.
Let's have another question.
This one's from Akshake Agarwal.
Akshake?
Akshake, yeah.
What's up, Akshake?
His question is, how do you make best use of Instagram?
Well, I think we're not experts, but from the research that we've been doing over the years and that we're trying to implement, I think it comes down to consistent, high quality content that aims to engage in a dialogue of some sort with the community that we're trying to build. I think that's a good way to use Instagram.
Yeah.
Specifically the consistent and high quality content. If you have consistency without high quality,
Yeah.
then it's just kind of like you're throwing, what's a good metaphor here? It's got to have substance, you know, it's got to be something that's worth engaging with. Otherwise,
it's like a fire, you know?
Yeah.
You're just throwing hay. It's like, it'll burn, but it's quick.
Yeah, you need something that will, you know, keep this fire going and maybe even make it bigger.
Yeah.
And then, making, you know, putting out content that is worth engaging with, something that aims to start a dialogue about something. I think that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
what was the question again?
How do you make best use of Instagram?
Okay. Sorry, I cut you off.
I read a really good book by Gary V about how to use Instagram in the way I'm kind of talking about, which is that he uses a boxing analogy, that in boxing you are trying to jab, and then hit someone with a big right hook. Which is obviously an aggressive metaphor, but I think there's something very true to that you're trying to, the jabs are talking about offering value to a community that you're building, and then the right hook is when you ask that community for something in return.
Right.
So, you know, you're on a regular basis trying to give actual good content that people want to see and are getting value from, and then every so often, you know, maybe a film comes out that we've made, we ask them to go watch it. Yeah. Or we are trying to do something new over here, so we're drawing someone's attention away from the thing that we're doing to say, hey, could you go and, you know, support this other thing that we're doing. Right. You can't only do the latter. Yeah. It's super important to, you know, offer real value in the form of content, and that can be so many different things. And I think we are also doing a lot of different things, that we're trying to do a lot of different things under that umbrella.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I don't have much to say on that. I think patience is probably good. We were on the same number of followers. Not that that's a measure for success or anything, but kind of is. We're on the same number of followers for a long time.
2 years.
And then Yes Theory came along and kind of gave us a bump. And now we're kind of stuck on a number of followers again. And I think that's the wrong thing to kind of be focusing on day to day. Yeah, I think for me, it's just putting out things that I like. And I always think, you know, it might not be the biggest audience that I'm going for, or that when I put something out, it's more just, I know there's somebody who out there like me who will enjoy that. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the only person I can cater to. You know, I was putting out the stuff that I like. Robin, you might have a thought on this, being the social media wizard.
I'd say I'd probably second what Matt said about focusing on consistency, but then also the quality. So consistently putting out quality content that not only you like, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's making it. You have to enjoy it, or else you probably won't be that consistent with it.
Yeah.
But then also offering something that that your followers will like, or new people will also want to engage with. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the most important things.
Cool.
Next question is from Laiku. And their question is, which parts of yourself do you still seek validation for?
Validation. Mm-hmm. Could I get the dictionary definition of that?
Yes.
You want to try explaining it? Validation.
Well, it's
something that validates you.
I don't know. I think something where you, in order to feel happy or to feel successful or to feel some kind of positive emotion, you require someone else's positive input to feel that thing.
Right. You're reliant on other people.
Yeah.
To feel.
And the question was specifically still
still
require validation for, implying, at least in my opinion, that maybe you don't need that to be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Or to, feel the positive thing,
yeah.
Whatever the specific thing is. I mean, something immediately jumped to mind for me, which would be, I still require validation for my creative work. And I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a huge measure of success to me is whether or not the thing that I've made is resonating with people, if they're able to get it, if it's making them feel something, if it's affecting them in some way. And I that's a huge part of working on anything creative for me, is the validation of the people who are consuming it.
Yeah.
That being said, I wouldn't say that someone having something negative to say about something would completely, consume me to the point that I couldn't continue to make something.
Yeah.
Or not be able to see past it. But I'd say that that's definitely something that I still and will continue to seek validation for. So I feel like if at once I just start only making something that the goal is for only me to make it, I don't see how that's even possible, really, because the reason why I make stuff is because I want it to be consumed. I want someone to see it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever make something just for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of making a painting and then burning it, or making a film and then burning it and never letting anyone see it, I don't know if I see the point in that. So I think that's a huge part of the process. But did you get a definition of the word validation?
Yeah. It means, or it is the action of checking or proving the validity or accuracy of something, or recognition / affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Validation.
I feel like I require the validation of someone who's not me, to look at something that I've made and give their opinion about it.
Right.
Because I can have, as much as I want to be like, no, but you don't get it, or this is how it was meant to be seen, or this is, you watched it the wrong way. Well, then there's something wrong with it. If it's like that across the board, you might have an outlier or a few outliers who aren't seeing it, and then it might just be, I think the majority of people are going to see it in a certain way, and that should tell you whether or not what you think you are making is coming across.
Right. I think validation feels good, but I really don't think I think I feel very confident in my own judgment of my own work. I know whether I like it or not, and then it's like the cherry on top if other people are going to like it as well. I think the more work is like the Yes Theory commercial that we're doing now, when we do work for someone else, I think I seek a lot more validation from that person because we're doing it for somebody. So I have this extra thing of well, it's for them. It's their project. I would be really upset if they didn't like it at the end of the day. Just on a human empathy, they hired us. Of course I want them to like it,
Yeah.
I also think, yeah, it's kind of like even with the Seek Discomfort commercial, I noticed I had read the comments and there were some negative ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviously it did affect me. So I must care to a certain extent what other people think. But I think what it revealed more is that I actually knew there was something that I wasn't 100% happy with the final product.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's more revealing of, I don't know, an insecurity that I think we could have worked harder or just figured one more thing out or blah, blah, blah. I really don't know if it's naive for me to say, but I don't think like even now, I finished my first feature film. I don't have a strong urge to show it to people. I'm gonna do it because it feels like a wasted opportunity not to do it. But the first thing, what is really like, I just feel, I finished that. I'm so like proud of myself for doing that. These are the things that I like about it. These are the things that I don't like about it, and that I think I need to work on for the next film. Like, that's it. I really don't have that, you know. But maybe again, it's an insecurity thing where if I thought it was like, oh, this is so good, that I would be much more like, yeah, I want people to see this. But then I would also go, I already think it's good. So I guess I want people to further validate me, but I think I'm almost self-validating in a way. I don't know if that's a word. You know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I can see that. Like I know certain things that I'm very confident about that we've made that no one has seen.
Yeah.
And it almost doesn't matter what people are going to say about it.
Yeah, that's right.
But that might be.
It's a bit arrogant, I guess.
I think a big part of it should actually be really taking into consideration how other people are viewing it, and that's a huge learning opportunity. Even if
I
you
agree
do
with
like
things
it.
with things like is it confusing? You know?
Yeah.
Do people understand it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
But somebody might go, well, I don't like this style, or I don't like this humor, or whatever. And I'll go, that's fine. I like it. That's why I wrote it.
Mm-hmm. But obviously, a huge part of the filmmaking process is exactly what you just brought up. Like, you have to be able to communicate the things that you're trying to communicate with someone else.
Yeah.
And so we're spending, 80% of the time figuring out, is that being communicated?
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say actually being communicated?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is someone able to understand it?
Yeah.
Not just able to, is it likely, overwhelmingly likely that they will get that thing that you're trying to say?
Right.
Both on a, practical level, like plot wise, but also like thematically and emotionally, something that's a little bit more abstract. I think it's good to have, a lot of different ways that you can interpret something. But if you're, you're trying to talk about the meaning of life, but people are thinking you're talking about like something totally different than that, like that might be a problem. I think a huge part of it is you have to let other people watch it, even if you know it's good, or that things could be better.
Yeah.
It's just like the final part of the process.
Maybe the thing is, I think I would seek a lot of validation from like certain people. Mm-hmm. That it wouldn't be the majority of people, but I could see myself really questioning my own ability if somebody I really looked up to was like, this is terrible.
Do you think that if
some director said, publicly, like, this is the worst film I've seen? I think, and I thought, this is good.
Right.
I would really, I could see that really affecting me.
Would that be a good thing?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my question was going to be, do you think that if you, or when the film gets seen, and you start, having conversations with strangers and people about what the film is and what they felt and what they liked, do you think that would influence your own opinion about it?
I think it would. I don't think it would that much.
So say there's like a scene that in your mind, it's not that strong.
Yeah.
But overwhelmingly a lot of people are like, wow, that scene was like my favorite, and that really did something. The way that happened and this happened, like really amazing. I think that would influence your negative interpretation of that scene. Like one detail that maybe you're looking at more than anyone else is going to notice, and that detail actually doesn't really influence the whole piece, and it's actually really being received really well. I think that would change your opinion about that scene.
I think I would be like surprised. I'd be like, oh wow.
But do you still think you would look at it as a bad scene?
Yeah, because whatever the reason was, why would that change? It's the same, I think, with people who like artists who write an album and there's one hit song that they didn't expect, and it's not their favorite song. From what I've heard, they don't go one day, oh yeah, this is not my favorite song. It's like, no, I think this is the best song. But that's just my opinion. I think once you put your work out there, it's sort of, in a way, is not yours, and it becomes the property of other people. But you would still, I would think I would still have my own opinions on what I thought worked out the best, or like, if there was a problem. I think it's hypothetical.
I think the difference between the example of a hit song would be that it's more like if there's a song on the album that they don't like, that actually a lot of people really like. That maybe they would change their opinion about its value.
But you can still say it has value and not like it, right? It's not even not like, but like you go like, oh, I don't know. It's hard to make that analogy to music, I guess.
No, it makes sense. I think the thing about like being surprised about something doing better than you thought it would.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm trying to bring up. Is the feeling of like you might have a notion that something is not as good as you wanted it to be, but really that is something that's based on like something totally different that the vast majority of audience is not going to be able to pick up on. I guess I'm saying that there's a lot of value in the way an audience views the piece, that's kind of like the final stage.
It is the final stage, but it wouldn't change. I think the example would be if, I think I said it before, if Boris and Johan had suddenly taken off, and let's say it like wins the Oscar for best film, I wouldn't suddenly go, I'm a genius and I've made the best. I would go, what the hell is happening? There's something.
You don't feel like you'd feel a little bit like a big shot? Like, whoa, I really made something special here?
No, because I would go, there's so many issues with it.
You think that everyone was just be like, oh, everyone's crazy for thinking this is really good?
I would go, they're misunderstanding it. There's something I've done that was unintentional, right? I could have accidentally, it's like spilling some paint and creating a mess. I would have gone, I accidentally spilt that paint. Yeah, it was me, and I was painting at the time. I would, it'd be hard not to take some credit, but I think deep down you would know that there's problems. That it's something.
Yeah, I'm not denying that
bothered you about it. It wouldn't go away.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm saying that it would go away.
I could do better.
But I think it would influence your own like perception of it. Like just knowing that so many people are reacting to this really positively.
Yeah.
I think you would have an impact on your overall like, wow, yeah, it actually is. It would highlight the things that are good and maybe minimize the problematic elements that still exist. That you probably view them less. You would place less importance on them maybe. And you would really start to see like, oh right, but all the other things that really did work, clearly people are reacting to those things. I wouldn't say those things are accidents.
No. I'm just saying that example of like, you don't feel like you've done the best work, or the best product has come out and suddenly somebody would go, this is amazing. I wouldn't start to question like, oh, is it actually amazing?
But can it still be amazing and not be the best thing you could ever make? Because is that even possible?
To
make the best thing you could ever make?
It's not possible, no. But there's just a sense, I don't know, there's a threshold in my head of things that I'll watch that we've made where I either go, this is really good, or there's some problems here. And I think that actually reveals itself kind of weeks or months after we've done the project. Because at the beginning, I would say, yes, the validation from other people totally sways you in like, is this good or is this not good? But I think after all that has gone and I watch it again later, I'll just either go, oh, there's a couple things here, or like, oh, this is a really solid, you know, commercial or whatever?
From like observations, I feel like often exactly that, a couple months later, we'll both have the same kind of like, oh yeah, that part could be a bit better,
right?
But often I'll still view it as like, but I really like it, and you'll often have a little bit more of like a that thing that it could be better seems to affect the feeling of the whole piece a lot more than it does for me. That it's like I actually don't like the commercial, rather than like that part isn't exactly the way I wanted it to be. Whereas I'm like, oh, that part isn't the way I want it to be, but I still really love what we did. I guess maybe that's what
I would say that's fair.
Yeah.
Which is also just, I think, like when we watch movies.
Yeah.
You know, I think the other day you said, oh, you can always find something good in movies.
And
I feel like I totally agree. And it, you know, a bad thing in a movie can kind of ruin the whole thing for me, or not ruin it, but it's like, I go, ooh, yeah, that part could have. That's interesting. I mean, I'm interested in the problems because those are the most interesting to me. You know, how could you have fixed that problem? Why is that a problem? Like, why did they decide to do that? Why didn't that work out? That kind of problem solving, I think, is something that really. And I would say it would be unfair if I didn't apply it to myself. But I'd be the first to say that I think, just, if not more critical of my own work than of other people's work. You know, I really question if at some point I could make a movie and really feel like, wow, this is I don't know if that's possible. It might just be other people's movies that you can go, wow, that's a masterpiece. I don't know if you could ever do that to yourself. But it's a nice question. Like, you know, it's a good pursuit. I'm not looking for perfection, but I'm looking for, I don't know.
I think it's definitely a huge strength to be able to identify the problems and take them seriously and not just ignore them. Yeah.
Especially you'd have to have that, because I think the bigger you get, the more people would assume that you know, sort of, if everybody watches it in the first screening, right? And it's you shouldn't surround yourself with people like this, but I would imagine some directors would just have like yes people that are kind of like, yeah, it's great. You need your own like style or sense of what's good or bad, you know? Of course, other people can influence that and you can like take other people's opinions into account. But I also think strong movies come from a director with a strong vision and an opinion, and, you know.
I would agree. I'd say maybe it's a little bit of a shame if that what is definitely a skill would inhibit someone from having long periods of feeling, you know, satisfied and happy about what they've made. If it's constantly like but it wasn't good enough, and like it's never really enough, and that it's always, you know, like I said, it's a huge skill, and it's what, you know, makes you improve.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so important to, you know, be genuinely happy about the thing that you've spent so long making.
Yeah.
And that's like what is the point then at the end of the day if you're not able to be genuinely content and happy for the majority of the time surrounding the work you do?
Because I would say you can have both.
I would agree.
You know, I feel very satisfied after watching there's a couple movies where I feel like almost enraged after watching, where I'd be like, it's so bad that I don't know. But most movies, even if I say this thing, or even with our own, we make the commercial, I still feel great after. Even my own Boris and Johan. Yeah, I feel so proud and like so all these emotions doing it, and I still have I just have that part of the brain that goes, if somebody asked, oh, is it exactly what you want? I'll go, no. Here are the things, and I've thought about them a lot.
Right.
Next question. Did you answer that question, or did you answered that one as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We answered about the same thing.
Yeah. The next question, please.
Question number 6 is from EMT Productions. Their question is, what fundamental steps did you take in order to take that step higher and advance?
Fundamental steps did you...
Should we say it at the same time?
Yes.
3.
Wait, what did I write?
We haven't talked about this. I feel like we should be able to say the same exact thing.
Oh shit!
Come on.
Let me think about it. Say the question again.
What fundamental steps did you take in order to take that step higher and advance?
What would you say is like the one thing that almost at every single major turning point
I got something.
is the mindset that gets us to take the next step and advance? What's the kind of like final thing that always ends up happening?
3, 2, 1. Burn your boats. Did I trick you?
Yeah, it's the name of our company. It's the reason why we are where we are. I think almost every major decision I've ever made has only really succeeded once we burned our boats and gave ourselves no real fallback option, committed 100% to something.
Yeah.
And it forces you to find a way to do it. It's really just a mindset. It's not really a practical strategy thing. It's just a general kind of idea that if there's something that we want to do, often the next thing, you kind of have to commit 100% to it.
Yeah.
And then you'll figure out a way to either sustain it or maintain it or achieve it.
Right.
There's actually a lot of times that you're capable to kind of take the step. For example, starting a business.
Yeah.
Like you moving here.
Yeah.
And moving here with a one-way ticket. We're going to start this business.
Yeah.
We have no clients. But now you're here, and this is 100% the only thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
We're not like trying to work on the side.
Yeah.
It forces you to very quickly have to come up with a model that works.
Yeah.
And you just have to keep adapting and keep changing until you find the thing that works. I think it would be so different. Imagine if you had moved here and we had both said, okay, great. First step is to find jobs at working part-time as like a bartender or a waiter.
Yeah.
And then while we're making money, we should, see if we can figure out how to start the business at the same time.
Yeah.
Suddenly you have something that allows you to not have to jump 100% into it.
Yeah. I agree.
Totally
with
changes
everything
it.
we do.
Get the office.
Yeah.
Committing to paying a significant amount of rent every month when we're already, not making big bucks.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you do that? Do you save up until you have 6, 7, 8 months kind of upfront ready to go so that you at least know that you're going to be able to last that long?
Yeah.
No, you just start. And then you have to kind of
figure it out
month to month, figure out how to make enough money to be able to do that.
Yeah, obviously use some reason.
Yeah, it's not completely
blind.
blind. Yeah, but it's the baseline mindset is 100%.
Yeah.
Like, how can we do this by committing 100%? Yeah, you think it through first.
Yeah.
There's definitely times when it doesn't make sense to commit 100%, and it doesn't make sense to therefore commit like 10% either. It makes sense to not do it and wait.
Yep. I think that's good.
Next question.
Next question is from Luke J. Miller. His question is, what is a goal of your company for 5 years from now and then 10 years from now?
5-year goal, 10-year goal.
Okay. What's your 5-year?
I have like 2 5-year goals.
Okay.
My first 5-year goal is that a feature film wins a top category at a major film festival.
Okay.
So like, one of the main awards to be won at one of the main film festivals around the world.
Yeah.
A film that Burning Boat has produced.
Yeah.
Wins that category.
Okay. And the other one?
The other one is more community based, to do with what we're trying to build surrounding Burning Boat more as like a community, which would be to have 1 million plus in that community.
Okay.
Which could be, I don't know exactly how that metric would be measured, but I guess an easy way to look at it now would be Instagram followers.
Right.
to really grow it into something where there's a real community. I'd be very proud of that.
Oh, excuse me.
I was struggling to come up with a specific number. That's the part that I was asking you about earlier.
Oh, I see.
I was like, I feel like what I was going to write is to have a community on social media, like a following on social media. And I was like, yeah, but what does that mean? And what would you be able to do with it? And what kind of number would... It's an arbitrary number.
Yeah, it is.
I'm kind of making up a number.
Yeah.
I think it is important to have these like specific goals. Often it's easy to just say something very general, and then your pursuit becomes very general as well. Right. By setting a very specific goal, it's like, okay, well, I can kind of measure that and see kind of where we're going and what's going on.
Okay.
I feel like a 5-year goal that's very, it's ambitious but also possible.
Yeah.
What's your 5-year goal for the company?
Speaking of generalities, that we would only be making, that the main part of the business would only be making feature films.
I would agree.
We would do a commercial only if it was like a one-off kind of sick-ass commercial.
Sick ass.
Yeah.
Write that down, Robin. Sick ass.
Sick-ass commercial.
I don't know why you should write it down, but it's a cool
take note.
Cool little word.
Written down.
And then my 10-year is that... This is kind of a strange one because it has to do with money, and I was thinking about, like, is that the right... It's like the money actually isn't what I mean, but it's more the feeling.
It's the same way that I said 1 million.
Yeah.
It's not about the number.
No.
But it's about what that number kind of implies is going on.
I would
hope we have something real to offer, and that the fact that 1 million people would be wanting to be part of our community says something.
Yeah.
Rather than the number being super important.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'm imagining the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think, let's hear it.
Is that we would be producing a film over a $20 million budget. Or that we would be in that realm, because I kind of see it as like, we get to 1 million, we get to 2 million, we get to 5 million, we get to 10 million, we get to 15 million.
You see it going that's not, my word was going to be slow, but I feel like once you kind of, the tier that you jump is going to be significantly more.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, I think time-wise, 10 years seems about accurate, but if you were to make 5 films, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, I feel like those are all kind of in the same category. Don't you feel like it would be like 2 million and then like 20 million? Once you've kind of shown that you can do something with 2 million, doesn't it jump significantly, or you kind of get the same? I feel like if you look at
looking at with the directors that I like, where it's like a little bit of a less what would you call it without sounding pretentious? A little bit more of an arty film, Never, they don't get those huge budgets. Less commercial a little bit.
Right.
I think if you wrote a script in that realm and they gave you 20 million to do it, it would be huge.
Right. Interesting.
And that I've been looking at a couple budgets and there's like 2 million, right? But then like 5 million is quite a difference, Right. Especially if, you're starting to make your name and like you can maybe get some actors for cheaper, whatever they want to work with you or whatever. 10 million then is huge. 20 million. And then to me in my head, it's like 20 million. And then the next one is like, 50 to 100 million or something. Like you're in some...
Yeah, let's just
alternate,
for those
like
of you
you're
who
making
don't
Avengers.
know how much films cost.
Yeah.
We just looked up that Avengers Endgame or Avengers Age of Ultron are in the like 300 million category.
Yeah, that's like...
what's a film that people would know that's at like 20 million?
The one I would just watch, The Favorite, was 15 million.
Favorite.
And I saw how much he was able to do with that. That is like... It's a period piece.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Emma Stone's in it. It was at the Oscars. Like, you're in that realm where you're like,
right. Sure. I feel like a lot of those films don't require a big budget.
Yeah.
Right? it's like something like Age of Ultron needs an insane budget because you're doing so many visual effects and so many.
Yeah.
It's so the scale is so massive.
I think you're in the realm of where a lot of money is spent.
Right.
Meaning, you have the budget, so it gets spent.
Right.
You know, I think you could make Avengers for cheaper. But I think it also is like, okay, they're going to make $1 billion anyway, so yeah, there's really no.
My 10-year goal is to have multiple different films in production at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of off of that, also multiple different kinds of businesses going on at the same time. A huge thing for me from the day that we started was this idea that Burning Boat is an umbrella company for other companies. One of them, the main one, being feature films.
Yeah.
But that there's so many other things that I think can fit under this umbrella company of Burning Boat. So many other projects that I would love to either get started on myself or, you know, have someone else come in and start working on that then becomes its own thing. Just the idea of being part of something that's like knowing that someone else is working on something so amazing that I'm actually not working on, but it's still part of, you know, Burning Boat.
Yeah.
I think would be amazing.
Be cool.
And I feel like 10 years from now, I could imagine that it's realistic to have multiple different films in production.
That one really excites me. So I think that would mean we're giving the opportunity to somebody that wasn't necessarily given to us, you know. We could foster something that's quite. It would be very satisfying to do that for people.
And even just, you know, right now our very I don't know what our model currently is. You make a film, I make a film. You make a film, I make a film. Which I think we'd both love to be able to work on films kind of at the same time. A lot of the time, it's a lot of work is done separately, and then you kind of come together for a chunk here and there. That you know, it'd be nice to be able to do that as well. And that's also what I'm imagining.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make sense, to be honest.
No.
It makes sense if the company is paying for it, right? If we did like a low budget something again, then it would make sense. Otherwise, it's just up to funding.
Yeah. Each project is kind of its own thing.
Oh, sorry, it's my turn, but you got the funding.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't do it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it would like, to make that model work, you'd kind of have to not look for funding unless it was your turn, which is also like...
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. So that's kind of a 10-year goal.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Really good questions. I really like these.
Thanks, Luke. That wasn't Luke, was it?
I think
that was indeed Luke.
we got one more, eh?
Yeah, there's one last one. And that question is from Fear is Your Strength. Good name. Question is, when was the time you've used fear as your strength?
I see what he did there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think anything that is a fear can be turned into a strength, because I think feeling fear is it's your brain telling you that something is affecting you and that there's something to be done. It's either something that's warning you about something that you can then take action towards, or it's something that's telling you to, you know, think. Well, I kind of am saying the same thing in a different way. It's telling you to think about what you're about to do and maybe be cautious about it.
Yeah.
And I think that is a strength. You know, someone who doesn't experience fear is, you know, a crazy person. But that, for me, I think it goes back to the first question we had. I think everyone kind of has a general fear of death or the end of their life, fear of dying. And that, to me, like I've already said, that's a huge motivating factor. And it's something that I consider a massive strength, is to take that fear and turn it into something really positive that gets me to do the things I want to do now and not, you know, someday, because there's this literal ticking timer, and that it's almost to the point that I don't consider it a fear anymore. It's actually something that's quite a pleasant feeling, the knowing that there will be an end one day, and that I know that that's something that's made my life very fulfilling because of that, because I've used it as a strength. That's mine.
It's a good one.
I've kind of already said that though. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll think of another one here while you're talking.
I think that's like that's what it is, though. All right, I guess that's the example of something you're afraid of being a strength. I mean, to me, the thing is that if you're not scared of something, it kind of, in many ways, shows how much you care about something. Obviously, like if we're talking about spiders or something, blah, blah, blah. But I'm thinking, like, if you do something that really makes you shit your pants and you do it and you complete it, it kind of shows, like, how important that thing was to you. Or, if you're feeling nervous or stressed, point being, if you're doing something and you never feel any of those feelings, I would almost say you don't really care about the thing.
Yeah, is it possible to feel fear about something that you know you would never want to do? Or do you only feel fear about something that actually you know that you kind of should do or want to do, and that it would benefit you, and therefore you're thinking about the impact it might have on you, and that's what's making you feel fear?
Yeah, I feel like fear, if we talk about it in the sense of like anxiety or stress or that sort of things, obviously like free soloing a wall is everybody's scared.
Very natural fear, yeah. Biological fear.
Exactly. But like the fear of failure or fear of what other people might think.
Fear of failure is a really interesting one, because I think a lot of people say that the fear of failure can overwhelm you to the point that you never try anything new. But I think if you completely removed the fear of failure, you also wouldn't strive to succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a hugely important fear to have.
Yeah.
You don't want to fail, and you don't want to fail because you have a fear of failure, because it's not a nice feeling to have.
No, it's easier just to not do the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like you need enough of it to take action. I think I was reading that the word stress is kind of the same thing as the word fear. If you're stressed about something, you're fearful of some kind of consequence.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if I don't do this, then this will happen, and that scares you. You're fearful of it. And stress is actually a really useful thing to have, because it kind of cues you into what's important, what's not important, what you should focus your attention on. What's not good is if fear lingers, if stress lingers, if you don't get rid of that stress, if that continues to be the baseline. Stress should be something to, kick you into action, and then it should go away. It's good in small doses.
Yeah, small doses, which is why I love film. Making a film is very stressful.
Ooh, yeah, stressful.
Yeah. Ultimately worth it. I don't know how that's a strength, though. I think that's why I was asking you, kind of like, how's it a strength? I just feel like it's a necessity almost. I don't know how I would.
I think the strength is being able to look at it that way, to look at how important it is. Like, the goal isn't to not have fear.
That's
in your
my
life.
point. Right.
I think that's the strength.
It's like the whole analogy. Like if you go on a first date, and you're not scared, you don't care.
Isn't the goal to be scared leading up to it, just enough so that you've really thought about why do I care about this?
Yeah, but you care
yourself
because
some context.
You care about the person, or it's like if you feel nervous or anxious or all these things, it's obviously you don't want it to overtake you.
No,
but there's a serious question if you didn't have any of that.
Yeah,
that you would be like, what's the point of this, basically?
Yeah, it should do something for you, and then it should be removed. If it's
it should go away.
Point,
if you're stressed the whole time,
away.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I've heard. I'm listening to a Tony Robbins audiobook right now, and he talks about how I can't remember exactly what artist he's referring to, but he's basically saying two people who have very similar careers of performing on stage have two very different interpretations of what happens to them before they go on stage.
Yeah.
One guy says, I hear the people chanting my name. Yeah. I start to get really nervous. My hand starts to sweat. My heart starts to beat out of my chest. And I feel this sick feeling in my stomach. And I start sweating. And I know I'm having a panic attack. And I feel like I can't go out on stage.
Yeah.
And the other guy says, I hear the crowd chanting my name. And hands start to tingle, and I start to feel this like weird feeling in my stomach. My heart starts pounding, and I know I'm fucking ready to go out and perform.
Right.
And like have a great experience.
Right.
It's like the difference between feeling anxiety and feeling excitement is so tiny, but it's like the way you think about it is so huge. So I think the strength is to know what fear is and what it's doing for you.
Yeah.
And how to utilize it.
Yeah, because I think everybody can relate to, like in high school, going on a stage to perform something and how amazing you feel afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to, like, I used to run track and field, and I would get so fucking nervous before an event that I would almost like throw up. But I knew that it would create, I knew I was going to run a PB when I felt that way, because I knew that it was I was literally getting my body prepared for like the most intense race I've ever had.
Yeah.
And if I was able to think about that enough, I was able to also implement and use that feeling that is being like all the adrenaline that's being pumped into my body.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking about it in a, oh my God, I'm going to like pass out, or I'm going to like, I can't feel my hands as they're on the line and I'm in the starting blocks. And what am I going to do? How am I ever going to be able to move my hands the right way? If I'm thinking about it that way, then I'm probably going to have trouble doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you use the fear?
Yeah. Cool.
Damn.
Was that the last question?
We should definitely do that again.
Yeah,
that was very
cool.
good. I really enjoyed the questions. Thank you so much to all of you who wrote questions for us to answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Luke. Thank you,
Name all of them.
BET, EMT.
Fear,
okay,
strength.
Cool. We will, we'll see you guys next week
On the Burning Boat Show.
Show.